All right, peace, Mice. What's good, man?
What's going on, King? How you?
Man, I'm hanging in there. You know what I'm saying? Maintaining, bro.
Yes, sir. What else we
I'm
gonna do?
maintaining, man, as best I'm able to. Thankfully, right now everybody in the family is safe and healthy. So, I feel like that's the most I could really ask for. You know what I'm saying? How you
That's
how you how you making out?
same here, man. Just doing the best I can, man. Just I'm just getting my mind, my body together, staying healthy.
Yeah,
Working out, eating right. Family has been healthy thus far. By the grace of God, everything is all right in that aspect. Just try to see the silver lining, man. Just trying to see, the blessing.
exactly. Exactly. Man, for me, one of the blessings has been just the ability to sit still for a second and, in that pause, sort of, hear the calling. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always ripping and running, so much, just traveling on the road with the Roots when I'm not doing stuff, when I'm not doing Tonight Show, or often I do both. You know what I mean? Like I'll work in the morning and then go do the Tonight Show at NBC, and then go do something when I leave there, and just having to sit still, like being forced to sort of slow down for a second, has really been a huge blessing for me. And I've had a little bit more time to reflect, and a little bit more time to really focus on being naturally creative without, having to force it, and without, time constrictions and stuff like that.
That's good.
Yes, I mean, so that solace has been one of the blessings, as well as, just this family time, man. It's been invaluable because I don't get to spend this amount of time with my wife or my kids, so it's really been, I mean, some people feel like enough is enough. You know what I mean?
It gets a little, it gets a little challenging sometimes.
Yeah,
Especially when I'm homeschooling. So, my wife, even when she's here, she works for a hospital. So,
oh
and she
wow,
does a lot of administration work. So she's on a computer all day. She's on conference calls all day. So I'm hands-on. I'm homeschooling daddy. We call it school daddy.
that's
All
crazy.
day. So this
Yeah.
is a constant thing. And my kids is 6 and 8.
Oh wow.
So this is real teaching. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? So the teacher sends you the curriculum. Some of it you don't even know. Like, we've so far past 3rd and 4th grade, you looking at it and you like, I know this is right, but sometimes you
Right,
gotta refresh your own self. So, it's
man.
a lot, but it gives you, it's definitely humbling. It's silence, it's more connection, just building with them, seeing them, watching them learn, just identifying with things that they go through in school that you don't even know. Just seeing what they've already
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
seeing the way they so educated. Watching my son use a computer and process certain things at 8 years old, I'll be looking at him like, damn, I didn't know you was, I know you sharp because you
Yeah.
my son, but I didn't know you was like this, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's definitely fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So what this is streams of thought, man, which is I've just been doing some stream of consciousness content that's really whatever I'm feeling like, in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, I know, like you and I worked together not too long ago, so I've already sort of like we had a discussion a couple times about what my Streams of Thought EP series was, and what this is sort of a continuation of that. But I'm just crossing disciplines, so it doesn't even have to be about music. It doesn't even have to be. I mean, it's really no rules, no format. So I'm just I decided to have some conversations, man, with people that inspire me, in various different ways, and people that I have a certain level of respect for, and you're definitely one of those people. So, I appreciate you taking this time to talk to me, bro.
Well, I appreciate being one of those people. When you inspire somebody who's inspired you for, most of your life, especially just in art and just in the way that you move as an individual, is just, it's beautiful, man. Ain't too many brothers that you see that this talented, who have a level of integrity, have a level of, mannerism and authenticity that you have, and being able to consistently have throughout your career, and a level of respect amongst anybody. It's like it's nobody within this this field or just anybody. I've never heard somebody say something negative about black. You know, and that's the thing. I mean, you probably hear because whatever, maybe once in a while somebody might say something, but for the most part, anybody that you bring your name up to, man, it's nothing but praise and respect, man. So to know that I have any level of inspiration in your life is definitely a blessing to me.
Hey man, well that's an honor. That's an honor. So the love and respect is mutual. And I mean, you know, I'm obviously familiar with, you know, who you are, like what you've done over the years. I feel like we're part of the same graduating class in that we came on the scene as artists around the same time. But for the layman, for those who may not know, who is Mysonne?
Oh, my son. At this point, my son is, you know, a man, a father, a husband, you know, a comrade, an advisor to many, to some, a leader. You know, someone who is unapologetically authentic. You know, sometimes even to a fault. Someone who believes in what he believes in and is willing to stand on what he stands on. Someone who loves, you know, the art of hip hop, the life of hip hop, what it really means. Someone who believes in substance, who believes in messages. Someone who is passionate. You know, came into this game. I came in '98, and I was signed to Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty was the first person who signed me. I was signed to Violated Def Jam, and I was young. Yeah, I was signed to Def Jam, and I was young, 21 years old, and that's where it began for me. And unfortunately, in 1999, before I even released the debut album, I only had probably a couple of features on the Rough Riders album, on DMX's album, the Violator album. I never even was able to release my own project before I was tried and convicted and sentenced to 7 to 14 years in prison.
Wow.
So in 1999, in the summer of 1999, I started my sentence. And throughout that time, just being incarcerated, you know, it forces you to deal with you. You know,
right.
You know, and my mind state was every day that I don't grow. And let me put this disclaimer: I was convicted of a crime that I didn't commit. So I actually did 7. I did 7 out of the 14 years for armed robbery, 2 armed robbery cases that I never committed.
Wow.
So rather than sit in the cell and you know just fall apart and be frustrated and be angry with the world, you know, right after I signed a pretty much $1 million record deal with Def Jam Violator, 2 months later, I officially had signed it, like I was getting courted in '98, and then I officially did the deal in the spring of '99.
Wow.
And I was scheduled to drop my album in the fall. And I was doing 7 to 14. I went to prison in June.
Wow.
You know, so I never even got to release the album. So rather than be frustrated, I sat there and I said, every day that I don't learn, grow, or evolve as a man, the system wins. You know, so I didn't go to jail to get involved with prison politics. I didn't make that my life. I realized this was a stop on the passage that I was on. So I utilized that time, you know, became a lot more health conscious, started reading a lot more books, understanding, watching how the prison industrial system, you know, completely attacks our people because they attack us because they attack our ignorance.
Right.
You know, that's what they do. They understand that when you put people in conditions that they don't have much, and then you tell them this is the only way to get it, and that's the only vision of success they have, 9 out of 10 people are going to follow that, you know, that recipe for success, and not knowing that it's just a recipe for prison or death.
Right.
So just constantly watching brothers like myself at 21 and 20 coming in there with 20 and 30 and 40 years was like a real eye opener to me. And they all came in being taught the same lie, you know. and they didn't know it. By the time you realize you taught the lie, for some it's too late. You know, I know a lot of brothers that was in there doing 40 and 50 years, the most intelligent, humble brothers I ever seen in my life. Some of the most intelligent, beautiful men that I've ever seen in my life are incarcerated and will never come home, never come home. So a lot of them took me in when I first came home, and when I first came in to prison, they seen something in me because I was always someone who gravitated to someone who had knowledge. So if you had something to tell me, I wanted to listen. I wasn't the knucklehead that thought I knew everything.
Right.
So a lot of the OGs pulled me to the side and said, "Yeah, you got a head on your shoulders, young boy, and you going home." You know, so they started to school me, and then I started to study and start seeing, why is this just us coming in and out these prisons? Why is it this revolving door for us? Why, you know, because we've been taught something that was wrong. So when I started to realize that, I said that, you know, when I do get back to society, I'm not going to perpetuate the same stupidity that got me in there, that got other brothers in there. Even though I didn't commit the crime, I surrounded myself by things and people who are also misinformed in situations that put me in a position to where I lost my freedom. You know, fortunately for me, I was able to regain my freedom after 7 years, but a lot of people weren't, you know, and a lot of people don't. So, you know, I just wanted to be a catalyst. So when I came home, I didn't want to have the same old jail stories. I didn't want to come, you know, everybody talking about how they was the man in jail and they was the man because they went to jail and they tougher than everybody. I wanted to dispel those myths. I wanted you to understand that tough is being home, taking care of your family. You know, tough is being a man and protecting your loved ones and being able to be there. You know, when you tough and you in jail and somebody do something to your mother and you can't do nothing, how tough are you actually? Yeah. You know, when you saying you was hustling to feed your family and then you lock yourself for 20 years, who's feeding them now? Right. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to let them understand that this it's a myth, you know, and I wanted you to understand that. So I came home with that in my mind, you know, and along the way, as I wanted to change the content of my music and change and utilize the negativity that they wanted to glorify me, because, you know, the streets glorify you when you go to prison. They rather you go to prison than go to college. You get all kind of welcome home parties, but somebody's going, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is happy. Yo, my man, he this and that, you know. So I wanted to utilize that carte blanche that they was going to give me for something that was going to be positive to transform the hood. And that's what I did. I came home and I didn't sit there with jail stories glorifying prison. I sat there and told them how it was the worst place that you ever could go. And everybody in there was trying to get out. You know, it was, so I dispelled that myth. And every time somebody came with that, I challenged them. You know, I took on that responsibility. Like, you're not going to come back to our communities and poison these kids, and they see you as a quote unquote OG, and you lying to them. And you telling them things that's going to lead them to brick walls and lead them to, you know, to graveyards. So I took on that responsibility. And as I continued to do that, and I got a lot more conscious and started focusing on seeing civil rights. You know, I think I started doing work with Harry Belafonte's organization, the Gathering for Justice, and I was in prisons teaching young incarcerated youth about how to use music as an alternative to violence and how they can use their words, because that was something I did when you know, music is expression. You know, when you frustrated something, you put frustration down on that paper. It prevents you from actually doing something negative. So I was in facilities teaching that to the youth that were incarcerated. And while I was doing that, around that same time, the Eric Garner case happened. Right. You know, and that was the first time I actually went to a march, you know, in New York City, which was hundreds of thousands. And I realized that this was something I needed to be. This is where I was most comfortable. Like, I was surrounded by people that wanted real change. There were people there that was willing to give their life and their freedom for change. And I realized that that's the type of person that I was. You know, and prior to that, I think my first real introduction into being activist was Trayvon Martin. Right. You know, I was filming a podcast, a web series in Florida, right? The same exact day that they were reading off the whether Zimmerman was going to be convicted or not.
Wow.
And I was in my hotel room. We was getting ready to go shoot a scene, so it's on the screen. So I'm saying, yeah, he definitely gonna be convicted of this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and when he did, and I never, I don't think I cried like that in my life.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like I was 5. At that point, my son was 11 years old.
Yeah.
So the correlation for me was too real. Like, so what do I say to my son? Like, how do I tell my son that this is what America says? That just
Yeah.
because he has a hoodie and he's black and he's somewhere that somebody doesn't deem he should be, that they can just take his life and nobody's going to be held accountable. And I think that reality hurt me more than anything.
It was heart wrenching. It was heart wrenching.
It was real. And you know, I think I wrote this piece, which you could probably follow on Instagram. On YouTube, called "What Do I Say to My Son?" And I think that was like my first real introduction into saying that I wanted to be vocal about activism and you know, issues that's going on in our community.
Yeah, man, I really respect that about you. You know what I'm saying? One of the main things that really draws me to you as a person, I feel like is definitely it's a leadership quality, you know, and it's a you know, I feel like as an artist, you're definitely socially responsible. You know, I feel like there's a care, like you're careful about what you say, you're careful about how you move because you're conscious of, you know, the example that you set, especially, you know, for the young people. So that's definitely one of the things that I really appreciate about you. Another thing that really made me, you know, a fan is just that selflessness, really the fearlessness. I liken you to like a Stokely Carmichael, or, you know, jokingly sometimes I say like the hip hop Al Sharpton, in that, you know what I'm saying, you definitely, you pop up on the scene as a voice for the voiceless when they need to be spoken for, you know, and it takes a certain you know, that's nothing you could do in fear, you know what I mean? And I don't feel like you know, pick and choose, oh, I'm gonna stand up for these people today and then not these people tomorrow, or, you know, I don't feel like you base it on, you know, like what particular organization or what nonprofit you rocking with at the moment. I feel like if you get the call that there's someone who's been done an injustice, or there's someone whose rights have been violated, like you're there, like without even thinking about it. And it could be, you know, it could be in the Bronx, it could be, you know, on the other side of the country. And it's something that I've always appreciated about you. Is, you know, it takes a certain amount of discipline, and there's only a few artists that I really feel, you know, have consistently, you know, walk the walk in the way that they sort of talk the talk. And I feel like you're definitely one of them. And in that, you haven't had to compromise. You haven't lost focus, or you haven't lost like the awareness of your lyricism, and you haven't lost your mastery of the craft. In that, I feel like your evolution, you know, from before you went away to, you know, since you know, been back home and stuff, and like where you've evolved to lyrically, speaks volumes, you know, just speaks volumes to the type of person that you are. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely an honor and a blessing, man, for us to have you, you know. That being said, you're like, I know you're from the Bronx. You're from the South Bronx?
I'm from pretty much the west side of the Bronx, the High Blues section. I'm from where A Boogie and the Young Boys is from.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
High Blues.
Word. That's you know, I definitely rock with Ghetto Gastro. My man Eric Kelly, who got a, you know, South Box, a boxing gym up there in the Bronx.
That's right.
My man Set Free has a compound. I definitely got, you know, a lot of my comrades are in the Bronx now and have been, you know, over the years. Razal the Godfather Noise, who, you know, is a legendary Roots member. You know, he's though I think he was born in Queens, he really made his bones in the Bronx. And when he was rocking with us, he was representing the Bronx and all that. I feel like there's definitely a similarity in the Bronx and in Philadelphia, in that it feels, you know, very working class. It feels very, you know, I feel like if you're able to make it out of Philadelphia, if you're able to make it out of the Bronx, then you good. You pretty much can, like, you're able to survive anywhere. Like once that's in you.
Yeah, those are survival places. Those are like, it's like a boot camp.
Yeah, agreed. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like once you survive that, you can pretty much, you can survive anywhere. Because I've had that same, when I go to Philly, I'm like, this reminds me of the Bronx. It has the same feel.
Yeah. That's very real. That's very real. Now, what else, man? What else did I want to rap to you about? Oh man, I always wanted to chop it up with you about the whole the Funkmaster Flex freestyles and all that. Everybody comes out with. I mean, it was one point where like everybody had a list of the top 5, the top 10, the top 2, top 3. Whenever I see one of those lists with regards to artists who have come up to rock with Funkmaster Flex, you and I are always in, like that top 5. In your opinion, who else do you see in that top 5? I mean, that's just assuming that you see me in there. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Like, listen, man. You know what's crazy? I remembered, right, the first time that I had seen you in DC.
Yeah.
And I was getting off the train. I think I was going to a rally or something. And then he was like, yo, we started talking, and he was like, yo, your Flex freestyle was crazy. Like, I'm about to go do mine. And I was like, yo, I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? So when I actually, like, I'm sitting in my house, and I just go through my phone, I'm like, oh, okay, you got Tariq, let me go see this. So I sat there and I listened to it, and I just put my phone down. Like, I put my phone down, I was like, nah, this is, and I wrote it on my page. I said, this is what you call lyrical mastery.
Wow.
Like, this is, like, you know what I'm saying? This is not a question, because I think I'm dope. I know I went up there and did some shit, but I say, yo, this right here is lyrical mastery. Like, you just don't do that for 10 minutes straight. Like, this is a level of mastery, and this is why you've always been one of my favorite artists. So I didn't expect anything different. I was just happy that these you kids was able to understand what lyrical mastery was, because and so without a doubt, to me, yours is better than mine.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. So that's very hard for me to say most of the time, but I'm gonna give you that.
Well, thank you.
As far as the rest, it's a lot, man. Like, I like when I say top 5, like, I think Lux is up there.
Lux is definitely up there.
You know what I'm saying? I think Lux is definitely there. Then it's I love Royce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I like Saha. Who else that I think was? I like Peas. I liked that gave me a feeling like, oh man, it was, who else? It was somebody else that I was thinking the other day, like, damn, they really went up there and killed it. It's a few more, but I think the ones that I named, like, they gave me there was a level of lyricism, creativity, there was a level of passion.
Yeah.
That kind of separated from everybody else to me. Like, I know it's a couple I'm probably missing, so I don't want nobody to be mad at me.
Yeah.
When they say 5, I think I gave 5.
Yeah. And I mean, the 5, I think you named 5 or 6, but that's my top 5 too. You know what I'm saying? I got myself, I got Royce, I definitely got Loaded Lux, I got you, and then it could go either way. But I was feeling Oompi, you know what I'm saying? I was definitely feeling him. I was feeling Saha. I feel like anybody who doesn't fold under pressure. I feel like a lot of times a rapper will, like, reach a certain platform and feel like they gotta, because they're there, they have to behave or perform in a way other than, what just comes natural to them. You know what I mean? So I feel like, being able to sort of maintain that poise and being able to, like with me, I always try to focus on making the craft come off as effortless and authentic as possible. You know what I mean? So I feel like when you're able to maintain that and still be saying something, then that's what sort of separates you from the rest of the pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like, yeah. When you're not trying, like, it just seems like it was nature.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Like, you know what I mean? Some people get up there and, I mean, what you're saying isn't half bad, but it's like you trying too hard.
Trying too
You know what
hard,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
You try to make
Yeah.
me believe you, and
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
really
exactly,
like that.
exactly. But I've always appreciated, you know, like the effortlessness of your flow. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's something. It's like you having a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Man, I can't wait for people to hear the joint that you and I are working
Woo, I can't
together,
wait,
man.
man. Listen, it's coming. We gotta get to that video though. That video, because I want us to shoot a bit like you know that that's one of the things for me. It's like we are so much in the visual era right now.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that thing, the concept of the song and the way we came up. Like every time I let somebody hear that song, they like, wow. I remember soon as you left the studio, K Slay came to the studio because
Oh,
he had
wow.
to do something. So I let him hear it. He's like, yo, that's a monster. I mean, y'all got to shoot a video for that.
Yeah.
He the one who got it in my mind. He's like, nah, you can't even put that out. Y'all got to have a video for that. I'm telling you, put that out with a video and it's out of here.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so he got my mind trained on that. And every time, you know, I was working with Chris Gotti, me and Chris been doing a lot of music together. So I let him hear that song. He's like, nah, we gotta. He's like, yo, you gotta get through. We gotta shoot that video ASAP. Like,
Yeah.
we got it. So when we like, I can't wait for them to hear that. Like, that's gonna drive the hood crazy.
Yeah,
it's gonna drive the hood crazy.
That joint is definitely serious, man.
It
So
is.
I mean, that being said, what is your creative process? Like, you know what I mean? When you sit down and go work on a song, or I mean, even, you know, if you're preparing to go and do a freestyle, you know what I'm saying? Which, I mean, you actually do, it seems a lot more often than I do. I click on and I see you popped up somewhere else, like with, you know, some more bars. Like with me, I feel like it's a painstaking process, you know what I mean? I only want to do it like once or twice a year. And, you know, when I do it, I try to make it count. Like when you're preparing to go somewhere and you know they're gonna ask you to rhyme, like what is your process like? And is that different from when you sit down to write a song?
I think it is. I think it's different because I think for me with songs, ideas just come to me. You can say a word and I'll be like, damn. And it completely triggers a whole thought of a song. Like you can say, well, people be talking to me and a lot of times they think I'm not paying attention because I'm engulfed in what you said, and then you said something. I'm like, yo, that's a crazy song right there. And then the chorus coming to my head, and I see the whole video. Because for me, when I do write songs, I have to see a visual for it. Like it has to be visual to me. So when I'm writing songs, everything is visual. That's just the person I am. So I'll be having conversations, and somebody could say the most random thing, and then it just pops in my head, and I'll just tune out for a second. I go, oh no, you just said something that a whole song in my head. So I put the idea down. Let me put that idea down. So, and then it's like now I gotta have a beat that marries the idea.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a process for me. Like I don't just say let me just get this beat and rhyme. Like it has to be a marriage for me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like so when I hear a beat, like the beat I heard for us, like when I heard it, I'm like this is for us. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I felt you on it. I heard the chorus in my mind, all of it. I seen the visuals, you know what I'm saying? So that's just how I do when I do music. But as far as verses and freestyles, when I do freestyles, the whole thing for me is how do I captivate somebody that don't want to hear?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know I got fans that can't wait to hear my stuff. How am I going to get somebody that didn't want to hear me without compromising myself? How am I going to get the same dude that listened to 21 Savage or Chief Keef to be like, nah, this dude is actually dope. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So every time I do that in this era, I want to be as authentic as possible, but as relatable as possible to as many people as possible. So there's a plethora of ideas that go into that. It's like when I'm having a conversation with my son, who's 21, I can't talk to him like I'm having a conversation with you all the time because we already know.
Right. Yeah.
We know. Like when I'm having a conversation with you, we having conversations from people who've already experienced certain things. How do I have a conversation with him that doesn't turn him off from getting what I'm trying to say, but where he identifies that I've been where you at. I'm not saying it down to you. I'm coming to where you are. I want to come to where you are without losing me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's my process when I sit down and I create a freestyle, because a freestyle is gonna be heard by people that never thought they was gonna listen to my song. Because
Exactly.
the platform itself is with different people. It's not just my fan base. You know, so I don't have to, I'm not here to cater to my fan base or make songs that I know my fan base and the people that love me want to hear. So when I'm doing a freestyle, I'm able to grab so many different topics and ideas that I have and then say, I need everybody in here to get this.
Right.
Everybody. But I can't compromise me. I got to maintain me. But I need everybody in here because I want to teach. Because the
Right.
freestyle for me is a real time to teach.
Exactly.
For you to learn, for me to connect with you, for me to teach, because it's so much. You know, these kids they love the freestyle. They love to hear somebody freestyle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now I got your attention.
Yeah.
So I got to keep your attention. You know, it's like you got to put a little bit of flavor inside the medicine. It's the medicine with the flavor. You know, it's
Yeah.
like the cherry flavor halls.
Yeah.
You know, they throw this sore. I know it's sore, but they don't like the medicine. So you got to give them some orange, a little cherry.
Right.
So that's what it is for me. It's like, how do I make this whole complete thing, this whole thought that I know everybody need to get, but how do I make sure that they all get it?
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, man. It's a delicate balance. Like it has to be nuanced, or you could wind up like pushing people away, especially the young people. You know what I mean? Like if they feel like if there's any notion that, oh man, you know what I'm saying, he trying to kick knowledge, you know what I'm saying? It's a rap. You know what I mean? So, like, that's often the case. You know, that's just the sad truth. So you really gotta, you gotta reel them in, man, with something that's super technical and like, it's certain words, it's a certain tone that you have to strike immediately to draw them in. You know what I'm saying? And it's dope that you're aware of that, and that your process, like the way you approach it is from an aspect of being more inclusive than excluding the listener, because there's a lot of people that approach you like, you know what I mean, look man, fuck it, I'm doing this for my people, you know what I'm saying, and you can rock with it, you know what I mean, roll with me or get rolled over, you know what I mean.
And I'm not mad at those people, but my process, like I tell preachers all the time, it's good that you got everybody in this church, but the people you need to save is on the corner.
These
people is already saved. Like the real work is when you go bring people from the corner to the church. Make them feel like they don't want, or you bring the work to the corner. You know what I'm saying? That's why our song is so real to me, because it does that. Like it merges that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I really appreciate your whole. I know every time I see you, man, you got some different Mysonne merch on. You know what I mean? I really rock with the soul not for sale concept.
Yes, sir.
I feel like that speaks to who both of us are as artists, in that it's a long road you could take, and it's a shortcut you could take, but it requires a lot more courage and sacrifice to really walk it out and to take the long road, like without compromising your integrity, without selling your soul. You know what I'm saying? That being said, like I said, man, we both like we both we're ex-Def Jam artists. You know what I mean? Like we don't rock with these labels. We were out in the 90s, and there's a lot of people that we saw who had different options and different opportunities, different paths that presented themselves, and they might have gone a different route. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's just something to be said about the artist who is going to ride it out and take that long route, man, without compromise. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes a lot more just strength, man, to remain conscious and to be saying something for your whole career than it does, it takes a lot more strength to evolve as an artist earlier in your career than it does to, like, once you've sold your soul for years and established yourself, you know what I mean, then you want to become conscious. You know what I'm saying? And that's not taking anything away from people who chose, who made that decision to go that route. But there's just something to be said. And I definitely identify more, with people who sort of stuck to their guns and fought the good fight throughout a career that spanned years. You know what I mean? It's something that I've been doing, you know, I mean, for three decades at this point. You know what I'm saying? I've always, you know, had the same, you know, lyrical content. I've always rapped about the same thing. Even, you know, given where we are now as a nation, where we are now in the world, this is what I've been rapping about since 1993. You know what I'm saying? So it's really nothing new under the sun, and it ain't a whole lot of surprises. You know what I mean? But I feel like I've been blessed to not have to bite my tongue. You know, I've been able to, you know, sort of speak, you know, have politically charged material and make a social political commentary on every Roots album. But at the same time, I'm still able to, you know, to work on primetime television. I'm still able to, you know, like I could do a record with Benny the Butcher today, and then tomorrow I could be on Sesame Street, you know. So it's just a blessing to really occupy that space. And I definitely feel like what you do, man, it resonates with me for that. You know what I'm saying? I see myself in you, and I see what it is that you do and what it is that I do. So I mean, just, you know, always, man, ultimate level, the highest level of respect for what you do, man. I really appreciate, you know, how you represent. I really rock with the Mysonne movement. And man, let's just continue to build. You know, I want to thank you, man, for taking this time to speak with me. This is, I mean, like I said, this isn't a podcast. This isn't, you know, this is just my platform, man. I'm just rocking out. This is Streams of Thought, and I'm really trying to refine it, but then I might not even refine it, man. I feel like I like it. I like how raw it is. You know,
it's pure, man. It's pure. I think listen to me. As soon as you reached out to me and said you want to have me on this, like, you know, it was an honor for me, man. So
I appreciate that, bro.
Like, just leave it like this. You don't gotta refine. Like, people, like, Streams of Thought is who you've always been. You've always been authentic, you know, and you just having conversation, man. You're bringing people to your living room, and you're just having conversations with people. And I think people are gonna love that, because that's what they expect from you anyway. You know, to refine it, I mean, down the line, maybe at some point, but right now it's just so pure. Like, me and you just having this conversation, man. I'm enjoying the fact that I'm knowing that one of the people that I idolize have a level of respect for me that's mutual. That's what it is for me. It's always about being respected by the people who you respect.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I always wanted to do. I never did any of this to get the praise from people who I didn't have respect for, people that we didn't have the same moral compass. So when you see somebody who stands, like you said, who sold not for sale, who's lived their life that way, whose whole career reflects that, and, you know, who's been one of the, you know, premier legends in this, in a path that you're following, and you feel like they somewhat co-sign what you're saying, it's a blessing, man. So I just want to thank you for leading the way, man, because every time I seen you do it, and I seen you still progress, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the most biggest glorified thing, but I seen the progression, you know what I'm saying? And I knew that the love was there. I didn't never seen you lose anything. I seen when 20, like you said, 3 decades, and you still here. And a lot of people who took the check or decided we're gonna go a different route because this was more in, not, you know what I'm saying? To see that you're still relevant at this stage, and you're not even, and you just being authentic. You ain't running around, I gotta do this and trying to do this. It's just so pure and it's so authentic. And you still relevant in this day. You're still winning, man. You know, that gives me, people like me, and these younger people that you telling not to sell their soul, gives us hope. Like, listen, Tariq is still winning, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, Black Thought is still winning. When you look at him and you still here, he's still on top of his game. The Roots Picnic is still one of the biggest things I've ever been to in my life.
Yo, man, it was great having you. It was great having you.
Man, I can't wait to get on that stage, though. That's why I could get the song. So next time I could be on there, man.
I know that's right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's just a blessing. Keep doing what you do, because you give the next generation hope. They saying, look, if you stay honorable, you don't sell your soul, you stay pure to your form and who you are, then you're gonna have longevity. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have real longevity. You're gonna have real authentic fans. You're gonna be able to do whatever you want. You're gonna be able to move however you want. You're gonna be able to create what you want. You know, and that's what you show. So I just appreciate you, man, for paving the way.
That means a lot, bro. That means a lot, man. You know, so salute, bro. Salute, comrade. Well, thank
Salute
you,
to you,
man.
King.
Yeah, man. It's been great having you. Thanks for taking a little bit of time. And this conversation is to be continued, man. This
Yes, sir,
is
man.
streams of thought, bro.
Appreciate you, King. Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir, man. Love and light.
Salute. Love and light.